We wrap up our draft preview coverage with a look at some day two diamonds at the offensive line position. I'm Phil Milani alongside Aric DiLalla. Aric, I'm a little bit sad.
I know I'm tearing up over here. It's over.
I know. So much buildup, so much anticipation, and now the draft is right around the corner. Can you believe it?
I'm happy, Phil. Finally, just a few days from now, we'll be able to talk about some guys that are actually on the Broncos instead of people who could maybe be on the Broncos.
Let's give the people what they want, though, Aric. Let's start with a look at Sir Lloyd Cushenberry, the center from LSU.
Lloyd Cushenberry the third, Phil.
The third.
Can't drop off the third, yeah. This guy, Phil, man, he's a player, a second-team All-American. He was LSU's team MVP, which really tells you something when he's on a team with Joe Burrow. Obviously, the national champions last year. That was the best offensive line in college football. And this guy at 6'3", 312 pounds, he can do it all. He's a good run blocker, powerful in that pass set. He's an athlete, Phil. And if he's there in the second round at 46, Broncos probably cannot get to the phone fast enough to get this guy on the roster.
He had the longest arms of any interior offensive lineman measured at the combine, 83 and a quarter inches long. That's his wingspan.
Yeah, exactly. And something I like about him, Phil, is a high character guy. A team captain was voted one of these jersey numbers that these teams do for guys that are accountable. And we just heard John Elway talk on Monday about how the Broncos are going to target high character guys. Lloyd Cushenberry fits in that category.
Let's move on to Matt Hennessey, another center, this guy from Temple University.
Yeah, home of Brandon McManus.
Yeah, exactly. Can we get another owl to join the Broncos?
I guess so. Who would that be, Phil?
I like it. Matt Hennessey. What do you know about him, Aric? Why do you think he could be a day two diamond?
Yeah, a second-team All-American, a finalist for the Remington Trophy, which is presented to the nation's top center. He's a guy that could slide right in between Dalton Reisner and Graham Glasgow, and especially in pass protection, Phil, this guy, he knows what he's doing. He only allowed one sack over his final 3 seasons at Temple, a pretty impressive number there. Maybe doesn't have quite the athleticism that you hope for at the next level. Maybe will get bullied a little bit at times in the run game, but still a solid option. And I think it's worth considering, Phil, that the Broncos have had Matt Paradis and Connor McGovern. Both those guys were late round draft picks. So you don't have to necessarily spend a second round, a first round pick on interior offensive linemen. And Matt Hennessey's a guy that I think might be there at the beginning of round 3.
And he's a proven guy, too, a 3-year starter at Temple. That's another thing that teams probably will be looking for this year is some guys who've put it out on tape. Matt's older brother is also the Jets long snapper, Thomas. So a football family there for the Hennesseys. Aric, let's wrap up our look at some day two diamonds on the interior offensive line with Shane Lemieux out of Oregon.
Yeah, Phil, another good guy here that, I think he could even maybe be a day 3 diamond, but since we're talking about day 2 diamonds, we'll talk about him as a potential
day 3 sleeper.
Exactly. But maybe he's a potential late round 3 pick. Shane Lemieux from Oregon. I like a couple guys from Oregon, Phil. We already talked about linebacker Troy Dye, but another second-team All-American. He played a lot at Oregon, 52 games during his 4-year career there. Started all 52 of them, just really impressive. Again, when you get down to this level of the draft, you're probably not going to have those elite athletic qualities, but still just a really solid player, probably projects as a high-level backup to maybe a starter. And again, he's a guy that the Broncos could slide in there. My one question, Phil, is would he have to play guard or could he work at center? I think he said at the Combine when we talked to him that he believes center is an option for him. But if not, maybe you have to consider putting Graham Glasgow in at center and putting Lemieux at right guard.
Yeah, we know the Broncos have a open spot somewhere along the interior there. Just depends who's going to fill what position. Shane Lemieux, a team captain at Oregon from Washington, but he crossed rivalry there and went to Oregon. So I think his family grew up Washington State fans. So This guy's got to be pretty tough-minded to do that to his own family.
Good hockey player too, right?
I don't know if that's Shane Lemieux. A couple of other Lemieux, Mario, Claude Lemieux.
Yeah. Not the same family?
Maybe he could play in the off season for the Avalanche.
Yeah, potentially.
All right. Well, we know that at some point the Broncos are most likely to pick up an offensive lineman. Maybe it's one of these day two diamonds here that we just mentioned. For the final time, for Aric DiLalla, I'm Phil Milani.